Welcome to The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Join us as we explore the prize inside, looking at holistic health and extraordinary human potential.
Hi there.
Hi there.
The Prize Inside, a podcast dedicated to holistic living and unlocking your human potential.
Hello, everybody. I'm so proud of that little AI film clip. That's for an almost 50 guy. That was pretty good, I'll have to say. So thank you for putting up with my weirdness on the old AI thing. I'm working on it. It should be pretty cool as I get better at it. But so welcome to tonight, Whole Health Weekly. Hopefully you guys are having a great night. I am as well. Tonight we go over different health topics that have kind of made the mainstream, some latest news in the holistic world. And I almost forgot. I gotta look up. Oh shoot. I've almost forgot our quote. Let me get that real quick. And then, so as we do this, though, I want you to remember, so follow me. We're up to I believe we are up to 72 people on Rumble, which is fantastic. Thank you guys for your support there. I'm going to put the link in the thing. You just look up Prize Inside on Rumble. If you want to get on the email list and just know when our shows are going, that would be fantastic too. That's tribe1.substack.com. So you have that, tribe1.substack.com. The other one is our YouTube channel, which our YouTube channel is growing pretty good. I think I'm up to like 17 people on there. So YouTube is the same thing. You're looking up for The Prize Inside, Jeremy Myers. Kind of look for that, and you'll find that on there. And I put the link in the description. And then I think that's it. If you love podcasts, which I do, you can find The Prize Inside, A Chiropractor's Journey on pretty much any of the Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. It's much easier, transparent, and the stuff I use, the software like sends it out to a bunch, like all kinds of them. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, and just listening, that would be fantastic. If you missed our last one, we did a one on carpal tunnel issues or wrist issues. That was our Sunday one. So that was our last recording there. This Sunday, I'm not going to be able to do it. So I have the recording, but I went back to turmeric. Turmeric is going to be the herb of the week. So a lot of times when it's the herb ones, you want to maybe take some notes or, just subscribe so you can listen to it a few times and you'll get a lot of the gist out of those. So with tonight, let us start with our chiropractic quote. I love all these. Because a lot of them started way before chiropractic. Sometimes Hippocrates is a big one. Oh, this one's from Jerry Rice. He was a very good wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. Um, Played for, I think it was the Raiders after that, but he had a very long career in there, still looks good today. But he said, his quote was, chiropractic was the key to keeping him in the game, which you'll hear that a lot with a lot of the pro athletes. They love getting the chiropractic aspect of things. Makes sense. Goes without saying, when you're getting smashed up, you want to make sure all your joints are working good. Love working on the athlete, like understanding that our role as chiropractors is a little different in not just, there's a lot of injuries that occur, yes, and chiropractic can be helpful in those for sure. But one of the things it definitely does, and one of the things that I became addicted to in my life, was that you actually, when I was balanced, when the innate intelligence of my body was actually functioning at a very high level, I was actually able to perform better than I did prior to a chiropractic adjustment. I have proof of that. That's one reason I went into chiropractic myself, is because when I think it was 14 or 15, I was up on playing varsity football. And when I was playing, I started even the coaches noticed I was like slowing down as the year goes, the wear and tear and everything else. I was starting to, not go as fast and move as good as I was. Well, long story, I got introduced to chiropractic through my mom, who needed her neck done. One of these days we'll have to go through that entire story. Because that was a pretty interesting. I should go through it tonight. Let's do it tonight. All right. So my mom used to play golf, and it was with these girls called the Binder Bunnies. Okay. So I was the oldest son, and I was watching my two brothers while she went and played. Well, one day, one of her golf mates comes to the door, and my mom's not with her. And then she's like, "Hey, she's at the hospital." I was like, "What happened?" And what actually occurred was so she was getting ready to tee off or something, and somebody yelled 4. And when she turned around, she got drilled right between the eyes, broke her nose, perfect center shot, like right on the bridge of your nose, broke her nose, knocked her off her feet, and like knocked her neck into next week. So what happened is I would go, because I had my driver's permit. I'd go with her so that I could drive home, because once she got her neck, or her nose was broken, and she had to go through that, but her neck was so messed up that she came in and got her neck adjusted. And when she got her neck adjusted, her eyes would kind of water, so she'd have me drive home. So that was kind of the thing. But in the meantime, I got to meet the chiropractor, who Dr. Geimer, bless his heart. He was a hilarious dude. He one day he sees me get up off the couch, like I was getting ready, and I was getting up like the slow lumberjack. And he's like, "Son, let me check your back real quick." So I was like, "All right." So I lay on my side. He adjusts me, and I swear to you, it was like something happened. My legs got lighter. I felt so less heavy. And I think a lot of people that have had chiropractic in the past would kind of espouse to that feeling, like a less heavy feeling. Well, what was happening is the innate intelligence, you're getting this balance going. So you had this balance that was kind of setting in. And the next day of practice, I felt like I had this extra energy and all those things. So then I asked my parents if I could go often. So I try to go every other week at least, to get this adjustment, not knowing that I was doing it for sports performance, not for pain, not for a low back pain or anything, right? Because at the before that, I thought I was like, how do I, get through this like low achy, stuff? And I was taking a crap ton of Tylenol and like pills, because that's all we really knew, right? And so I was able to get away from that, and actually thinking in my brain as an athlete that getting adjusted was helping maximize my performance. So if you have an athlete in your life, maybe introduce them to chiropractic as a really nice way to prevent injury, number one, but then also give them that tool that may help them enhance how they perform, right? Because if I have everything balanced so that innate intelligence of your body is working as best it can in any athletic event, a lot of times they get some results out of that. So just throwing that out there for a little yay to chiropractic. But tonight we're going to go over the top stories of the week. So I found a few. Not a lot going on in the medical, which makes sense. A lot of times it's kind of a weird time, Christmas time, December, a lot of flu stories, like scary stuff. They want you to take the next, get the next pill or the next crisis, those kind of things. So we'll stay away from that a little bit because you get enough fear porn on internet anyway. But this one was cool. So there was this was kind of cool. It was a article by United Health Group, which is kind of crazy. I'm going to reject that. Okay. So no. All right. So so this is an article. It doesn't say who it's written by yet, but maybe by this United Health Group. So this one is interesting. I liked it. Reaching 100 with care. Centurions reflect on holistic health. And I'll add a little bit to this because one of the reasons I started podcasting was an article I read on the 100-year-old people that make it to that. A rapidly growing segment of this membership is turning 100. Oh, it's United Healthcare, the insurance. Already serves a significant centurion population to grow. All right, so that doesn't say anything. This is so funny. So this is an insurance company's article. Listen to what they say. This is fascinating. So they surveyed 100 Americans, 100 plus, to better understand their experiences, values, and perspectives. Here are the key findings of these 100-year-olds, and this is 100 of them. Number one, being healthy goes beyond absence of illness and encompasses a holistic view of body, mind, emotion, and spirit. Well, heck, man, that sure sounds holistic. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool, right? And this is them telling, doing this interview. My centurions are consistently defying stereotypes around aging. This is number two, expressing a strong desire to remain active, adaptable, socially engaged, and mentally sharp. They're active participants on social media, own and use smartphones, and are engaging in new technologies such as Chat GPT, right? That makes sense. All right. Number three, on average, centurions say they feel 68 years old. That's interesting, which is 11 years younger than those surveyed a decade ago. Wow, that's pretty interesting. So they actually feel younger than they did 10 years ago. And the fourth is centurions believe emotional resilience gained over time helps lead to a more profound understanding of life's value and an increased ability to find joy. That is fascinating. You never know where you're going to find the news that would make you go, huh? So that one's interesting. That was by an insurance company. What's fascinating about that article, when I read that piece before, I was like, oh, I didn't realize it was actually an insurance company. Now it makes me think of so many different things. Number one, why don't we cover the things that allow the longevity? That's always interesting. Not once did they say, man, I'm so glad I did this procedure. Isn't that true? Wasn't it something bigger than that? It was emotions. It was motion. It was connection. It was all of these things. A big conversation that we always have to have. And I hate to be this way. Nobody is coming to visit you. You have to go find them, right? This is a big lesson in American culture currently. Once we retire, we have a problem. We have a problem with getting out and doing the social stuff, the emotional stuff. One of the classics on that article was number 4 is emotional strength, understanding how to get through the tough times, right? But not once did they say, man, this is the miracle drug or the miracle pill or whatever, right? Longevity is activity, it's connection, it's all of those things. And so, regardless of, where you're at in your health journey, if you can start focusing on those things, what do we focus on all these 1% tribe and everything? Thoughts, toxins, trauma, right? Thoughts, toxins, trauma. Those are the 3 key factors in all sickness, dis-ease, right? If I can get my body into a state of ease all the time, stop letting these anxieties take over, right? We got to go. We got to do these things. Their anxieties are going to be there. Let's figure out how to do those things, right? And those activities will get you to places. I heard a quote that I loved. This one, they asked Elon Musk, what do you like to invest in? He's like, really, I don't care about investing. I like to do. I like to do things. Well, as Elon Musk is, he's kind of in that autistic spectrum technically. So he always says things very bluntly, right? And so that bluntness tells you exactly what he's thinking. He does things, right? We have to do. And then if anything you got out of that centurion thing, it's life, love, happiness. Just keep working towards those things. Smiling once in a while. That'll get you. Living in a doctor's office will not. That's just the way it goes. So remember that one. That was a pretty good one on the Centurions one. So that was good. Ooh, this one's kind of interesting. So far the 2025 wellness trends are going to be, which hopefully you guys understand this, is gut health, right? So we have a program at our office for gut health detoxing. This one was kind of cool. It's a multi-sensory sauna. That's kind of cool. Personalized plans, integrating energy type stuff into mainstream care. All of those things are because they're the wellness trends of the time. We've gone over gut health. I'll probably go over it again at some point in our future here because it's such an important topic. But understanding the gut microbiome and what it can do if your health in general is changing a lot of things, rebalancing a lot of stuff. So that's there. Okay. So so this one's interesting. Traditional medicine gains ground throughout the world. Holistic approaches like Ayurvedic medicine, which we've talked about. So that's like Indian, Chinese medicine in a sense, herbal remedies, kind of like being a registered herbalist, like what I've been doing, they started to really take off in just generalized healthcare. And so that's kind of cool. So now we have to get our mindset around that, right? So we're got to quit, taking care of disease all the time, like looking for symptom chasing. That's basically what our sick care model is currently. But it can make a change. The problem is like the people have to ask for that change and have to understand that change. I want to be the best I possibly can. And then things will start moving towards the best you possibly can, right? So one of the things at our office is we constantly strive to see what we can bring into the table as far as new things that will expand your health, in all the innate intelligence of the world. Wim Hof made the news. That's kind of cool. If you remember, Wim Hof is the guy that started cold exposure techniques. making it popular. It's been around a really long time, way beyond Wim Hof. A lot of athletes, college athletes, were doing it. So after workouts, if you watch the show, it was called Last Chance U on Netflix. It's pretty intense. It's like where these kids did some bad stuff. They might have had a scholarship, somewhere else, but because they got busted for doing something, they go to these small colleges, community colleges. It's pretty good. It's intense because there's one coach in there. If you ever talk to any of my kids like that, might be the end of that coach. But he, one of the things is they were in this really hot area like Mississippi, 100 degrees out. They're doing practice, and then after practice, all the kids had to jump into a cold bath. What that does physiologically, there's a few things. One, Wim Hof took it to another level where there's like other physiological things that could be occurring there. But for what I know, very obviously, your inflammation markers will go down. So like anytime you use cold, right, your inflammation will kind of reduce. So your swelling and the aches and pains from like that workout will be a lot better. Wim Hof is a fantastic video. I don't know what they call it, streamer. He's really, really good on camera. And so he took it to another level where he's doing a lot of cold exposure, learning how to breathe in the cold. It's fantastic follow if you ever want to with it. A lot of people were challenging if that was actually good for you. I would say it's just like anything, you don't want to do it all the time, necessarily every minute of every day. Right. It's kind of like, why drink, 2 gallons of magnesium? That doesn't make any sense. Your body only needs exactly what it needs. Right. We wouldn't do that. Right. So why overcold yourself for hours on end? And that's where the kind of the debate goes. It reminds me of like this tanning beds. Tanning beds got such a bad rap for so many years for whatever reason. They, like science attacked them hardcore. Yes, skin cancer can be a problem, but if you don't do it all the time, you also have to increase your vitamin D level in the winter because it's crap out. There's like no sun, and we sit indoors when it gets cold now. It's not like we're going to forage, so we don't even get the sun of that part of the day. So tanning booths, especially in winter areas like, let's say, Michigan, where I'm at, is a good idea. It's a fantastic idea. And it's to increase that vitamin D level. It's not a bad move. So just throwing that out there. But so Wim Hof is making the news this week. And then this one's cool. This one was from Iran. This is kind of interesting. A randomized trial in Iran shows that bird watching combined with education significantly reduced urban anxiety and stress. So that's kind of cool. Let me see if there's any more to this. Okay, a study undertaken by it's called At Crazy About Bird, Fatem Kazemi, and Mohammed Ali Aga Abrimi addresses this gap by examining the mental health benefits of a combined bird watching and preparatory education compared to nature walks through a randomized controlled trial of 170 urban participants in Iran. The findings suggest that bird watching offers a unique benefits as a mental health intervention in urban settings, particularly for reducing stress and anxiety, with further research needed to explore its long-term impacts. So that's kind of cool. Bird watching is a thing. I can agree with that. That was a pretty good one. So that was kind of a boring week of trendy stuff. So let's get into the fun. So I love going to now that we looked at kind of the trendy stuff, let's look at Dr. Mercola's site. These aren't as trendy, but they're much more attuned to what our holistic mindset is. So this is the first one we're going to go over, and this story is brought to you by, oh, this is an analysis by Dr. Mercola. Okay. Oh, that's not it. Sorry, guys. That's not what I want. Where did it go? Okay, hang on. Oh, here we go. This is the top story. Okay, here we go. That is not. Sorry. Hang on. We're going to go back. Oh, okay. So this is the right article. Okay, so it starts out with a bad title, but it ends up being a good one. So cognitive challenges have risen sharply among younger Americans. Cognitive challenges have risen sharply among young Americans. So cognitive problems like memory loss, poor focus, and brain fog are rising sharply among younger adults, nearly doubling between 2013 and 2023. Lifestyle and metabolic factors such as poor diet, stress, sleep disruption, and exposure to seed oils, and environmental toxins are likely fueling this decline in brain health. Chronic conditions like blood pressure and diabetes are dramatically increase in the risk of cognitive disability by damaging blood vessels and reducing brain oxygen and driving inflammation. Improving gut health, restoring metabolic energy, and managing daily stress through light exposure, breathing, and balanced nutrition are key to protecting your brain. All right. So let's read a little bit more into this. Something unusual is happening across America. Young adults are reporting more memory lapses, attention problems, and mental fatigue than ever before. The growing sense of brain fog is no longer limited to older adults or those with diagnosed conditions like dementia. It's showing up in people who are studying, working, and raising families, those in what should be the sharpest years of their life. And so the study goes on. It cuts across income levels, all those things. But I want to get to the part. Here we go. So this is the part of the article that I wanted to get to. 5 ways we can protect and rebuild our cognitive health. Okay. Repair your brain's energy supply by healing your metabolism. This is critical, and I'll tell you in a minute. Your brain burns more glucose than any other organ in your body. When your metabolism is sluggish, your mental clarity drops with it. Start by eating high quality carbs at around 250 grams a day for most adults to fuel your brain. Choose easy to digest options like fruit and white rice to start if your gut is compromised. Avoid seed oils, which contain linoleic acid that clogs the mitochondrial function, which y'all know that seed oils are terrible. When you restore your energy flow, you'll notice sharper focus and steadier moods and faster recall. This is where I kind of disagree with the article. Sometimes the high complex carbs are good, right? And so that's the thing. What I recommend highly too is the high fat ketogenic style of diet as well. One reason is because of our body's ability and our brain's ability when we're in this thing called ketosis. Okay, so ketosis is the part of fat burning as energy, right? So fat burning as energy is one of the processes of your body. You have 2. You have an easy one. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. I apologize. I don't know where that came from. So fat burning is where your body uses fat as energy. It's a much tougher, your body doesn't like to do it. It easily goes out of that system because it's easier essentially to use the other system versus the system, the fat burning system. The fat burning system, I use the analogy, you have to cook the meal, right? You have to go in, get the groceries, you know, chop up the vegetables, put it in the thing. So that's kind of fat burning. Glucose, or running on carbohydrates, is a very easy system for your body. So your body loves the carbohydrate system. And because it's easy energy, it's easy in, easy out. Even if it's crap energy and not good carbs, it will still you want to use that energy versus the fat energy, right? And so one of the biggest things is like getting your body into what they call fat burning mode. Fat burning mode, or ketosis, is the way to do a lot of brain clearing. Okay. In a lot of medical literature, they'll say high complex carbs. The problem is your brain really is very, very efficient on the fat burning mode of things. So a lot of times you'll see it, and even in my herbal world, I'll start somebody with a 4 or 5 day minimum, ketogenic, or you know it as Atkins diet, right? So ketogenic is like good fats, good proteins, water, and maybe some black coffee, right? And so you can't do anything, no sugar, no any of that kind of stuff. Dairy you can do because it's a protein, but those are the key aspects to what they call a ketogenic diet, the old Atkins typically. Okay. And so what that does is it lets you get into what they call a fat burning mode. The clarity of mind that happens with that is amazing, just based on the brain's ability to want to use fat burning. Your brain loves to use the energy of fat burning, or ketosis, much more effectively than the glucose or the carbohydrate energy stores. Okay. So with that occurring, a lot of times I will lean people into, going this ketogenic type diet first, and then you can start seeing that mental brain fog kind of clear up. But the amount of fake sugar, oh, it's insane. So and that's one reason the kids are having trouble, because a lot of this, a lot of the foods we have now are pretty fake. 80% fake is not a good thing. And so because they're not even good carbs, right? So not only are you running on carbohydrates, we're running on fake carbohydrates. So that's even worse, right? So we have this like fake carb lifestyle that we think we're eating, oh man, this is carbs, this one, it can be the sugars that we have are so fake that the energy we derive from that is so chemical laden that it doesn't make sense. And then it ends up being a problem for your immune system. Everything goes nuts. So remember that as you go. That's a good one, though. I really, really like that thought. So that was the first way. Protect your brain, maybe go into a ketogenic type diet. Fix your metabolism, though. So Rachel's program that she does at the office is a metabolism fixer. So if you ever want to fix your metabolism, the one that she does, she knows and she coaches, is phenomenal. So remember, reach out for that. This is number 2 on this list. Protect your brain from metabolic and environmental toxins. So excess seed oils, heavy metals in food, right? So kind of going organic. Microplastics all create oxidative, and that's also found everywhere, right? Plastic bottles, all those kind of things, all create oxidative stress that damages your neurons. Replace all your industrial seed oils, and these are all soy, corn, canola, sunflower, safflower, with fats, saturated fats like tallow, ghee, grass-fed butter. These would be good. Filter your drinking water. Eat whole, minimally processed foods. These are all really, really good things. When you start changing that, then your brain will be happy because these toxins don't get in there. Okay. So that was good. Rebuild your gut health. We talk about that all the time. Rebuilding the gut microbiome, understanding how that goes, because there's a gut-brain axis. If where your gut goes, your brain will follow. Okay. So if you have gut issues, you're not getting the most out of your brain function. Let me say that again. If you have gut issues, your brain will follow. Okay. So that you got to understand that they're very, very well connected. Getting a good gut microbiome going in the right direction is huge. Okay. Okay. So that one's big. Talk to me at some point. We'll do another gut microbiome one for sure. Balance your hormones and stress response. So chronic stress floods your body with cortisol, which disrupts sleep, slows glucose delivery to your brain, and impairs memory formation. Make it a daily habit to get morning sunlight on your skin and eyes because it resets your circadian rhythm and promotes nighttime melatonin release. So that's interesting, especially now when we go to school and it's still dark out. So remember to get sunlight on your skin and eyes. Okay. So get out in the sun early. That's what that's saying. Reclaim mental focus by managing digital and sensory overload. Constant exposure to screens, notifications, and artificial light keeps your nervous system in low-grade state of alarm. Protect your brain by creating tech-free windows during your day. Try turning off all devices at sunset and getting at least 1 hour of natural sunlight daily. So those are all good. Mine's kind of built in because I'm seeing patients and don't bring your phone with you, which is fantastic. There's still some screen time maybe, but it's nice to have the conversation. That's why I love that piece. Love that piece. Maybe someday I'll even have where I don't have to touch it at all, and like the notes are take themselves on a microphone or something. But yeah, those are some good hints on that article. I really liked it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. So there's that one. Okay. Let's go to, let me see. Oh, I like this one too. So let's talk about, let's keep you younger longer. Okay. So the simple change that helps you stay younger longer. This one is by Dr. Mercola. Okay. All right. So this guy's name is Jacob Kimmel. He's president and co-founder of New Limit, a company that develops reprogramming medicines for aging, discusses how evolution only optimizes humans to survive through reproduction, not a long lifespan. Interesting. Okay. Let's see what this says. So aging reflects weak evolutionary pressure for longevity, which leaves your cells vulnerable to decline after their most productive years. Mortality in human history favored intelligence for survival, with fluid intelligence peaking in the early childhood or early adulthood to match evolutionary priorities rather than preserving cognitive strength in later life. Unlike microbes, humans didn't evolve antibiotics due to genetic stability constraints. Instead, your adaptive immune system emerged as a flexible defense system, leaving traces of ancient viral battles in your DNA. This is an interesting one. Epigenetic reprogramming. Remember what epigenetics is. Epigenetic reprogramming challenges evolution's limits by reversing cellular decline, offering a way to extend lifespan. All right. Let me go to, that is interesting. Oh, I like this. Okay. So what we're going to talk about in this article, this is what this guy's explaining. Part of it, I can get what he's saying. Part of it, we're going to discuss. One of the things that's going to happen in our healthcare and holistic world, once people understand, okay, so I think my 1% tribers and subscribers here will be about 6 years ahead of this. Pretty soon, there's going to be a entire field of what they call epigenetics. Okay. Once the mainstream area understands that we can literally reprogram our own genes, then there's going to be an onslaught on my holistic people, an onslaught of people claiming that they can reprogram those same genes with supplements, medicines, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. It's all the same kind of hype situation. What I do know is that if you live in a holistic mindset and get rid of the interferences of thoughts, toxins, trauma, and those things are your aim goal every single day, you are epigenetically reprogramming your life currently. Okay, you're living younger every single day currently. It's when we fall off of that and we start looking for what we call outside in approaches. So when we look for a chemical to fix something, when we look for, let's say, a therapy to fix something, right? We have to understand that our role in health is to do the work, is to do the activity, is to get the emotions right. All of those things are on the human to get this innate intelligence to be a clear path, and then things will start happening, right? We can change our own genes. Epigenetics is proven that, okay? But you guys have heard about epigenetics now. 5 years from now, you're going to look back on this podcast tonight and go, holy crap, we were way ahead of this game. There's going to be people that are going to come and say, I have your epigenetic program switch. You just take this pill, right? That's still what I call an outside in adjustment. Now, if you know things and you're knowledgeable, and all of a sudden, you're able to, give this body everything it needs to support the literal change in the human body that you want. Taking a great heart supplement, nutritionally, eating for your heart, eating for whatever ails you, eating for arthritis, right? All of those things lead you down a path that allows you to start to see these changes with just you, right? And that's the beauty of it. So let's keep talking on this article because this is pretty good. Okay. Because I want to talk about this first one. When Kimmel, this is the guy I'm talking about. His name was, let me remember back, Jacob Kimmel. Okay. All right. When Kimmel discussed the evolutionary limits on human biology, he pointed to antibiotics as an instructive example. Your body's ability to fight infections relies on intricate defenses, but you might wonder why evolution never equipped you with built-in antibiotics like the produced by microbes. Instead, your immune system evolved as a flexible alternative to antibiotics shaped by pathogens. Whoa. Okay, let's break this down. This is where I completely disagree with this guy. Okay. So your body has its own built-in antibiotics. It's obvious. There's several layers of cells in many different kinds. I want to say like 7 to 8 different types of immune cells just by itself. One of the reasons you don't have all the antibodies to the world is because your body can produce them at a moment's notice. So if your innate intelligence is working perfectly, do you need antibiotics sitting there waiting for that shoe to fall? No, because your body, when working perfectly, can produce it. When it isn't working perfectly, which is a very big part of the population, it doesn't produce it correctly. That's where the need for, let's say, antibiotics comes in. I hope you guys are understanding this. In a perfect human being, there is no need for any antibiotics because the antibiotics would be produced by the innate intelligence within us. Okay. What his argument is that the human body doesn't produce the ones we need because that was the limit of evolution. And I would say, I disagree strongly. I would say the limit of evolution and the limit of saying there's a limit to the human body is that we don't have perfection and we are always striving for that perfection. But if our body was working 100% correct 100% of the time, it would produce whatever antibodies we need. And that's the beauty of the immune system. There's two different immune systems. There's one, I might screw it up, but humoral is the one that's what they call temporary. So it creates these cells that come, they create the antibody, attack what they need to, and then they get rid of themselves and whatever bug they're going, but they don't remember the process. Okay. So that's the temporary immune system. The permanent immune system is the one that has a memory to it. It has these cells that have a actual memory for whatever pathogen it's going against. It has a memory so it can go back and know how to attack it. So just to let you know, gosh, this is going to be a good article to talk about. So hopefully this is interesting to you guys. So, here's a great example. Wow, this is going to be interesting because I completely disagree. This is great. Okay, so microbes produce. So this is part of the article by this guy. Microbes produce antibiotics through a unique evolutionary advantage. With vast population sizes and extremely high mutation rates, bacteria and fungi engage in chemical arms races, churned out molecules like antibiotics to outcompete rivals. This process allows microbes to rapidly adapt, producing diverse compounds that target specific competitors in their environment. We do too. We absolutely do too. But to say we don't do that is kind of mind-blowing. But how many subjects are not messed up from our crappy foods, all of these things that don't allow the human body to work that way, right? So in his next argument, it says humans by contrast can never evolve along this path because our mutation rates need to stay relatively low in order to protect the stability of our complex genomes. Rapid mutations at microbial levels would lead to catastrophic consequences, most notably uncontrolled cancers. This constraint means that while microbes thrive on variation, mammals depend on genetic stability to survive from one generation to the next. Interesting. So that is one of the more fascinating things about holistic paradigms. We believe there's no biological limit, and we're always striving to go there, right? Go to that limit. One of the problems we're having right now is hackers, like biohackers, all these people that think there is a limit to the human body. We want to be better than the human body. This is a very interesting concept because what he's saying is not wrong. We want to give ourselves that support system. But he's wrong in the body's ability to produce all of these things, in my humble opinion. This is an article I'd probably go, those kind of things. But let's get to what he's getting at. Okay, I see where he's doing. Okay, so he's getting into the point, and this is going to be a big, okay, here we go. So he is trying to figure out different ways to introduce new things through technology. So yeah, there it is. Machine learning tools. So machine learning models can analyze massive amounts of experimental data and help pinpoint which transcription phase. So transcription is creating a cell or creating an action or a product in your body to help combat something. Okay. So we should do more studies on this article. Lipid nanoparticles. Okay. I don't want to send you down this rabbit hole. Yeah. So what they're saying is essentially he wants to create virtual cells that run like a microbe to create the different antibodies, and that would help our evolutionary path when we get into microbes and bugs and all those kind of things. But remember this, and this is where it's going to be different. Some of you may disagree with me on this. Our body is perfect. The reason the cells have problems is because they're so occupied by other things, because our environment, we must get our environment under control. You're going to see, if you see that environment actually take off and go in the right direction like that, many times you're going to see a better result. So I won't keep us that long. That one is that's a good article. Whew, that was super interesting. So what his concept was is how we're going to keep longer better by having some kind of drug that's genetically connected to the things we didn't evolve to. So I'm going to say that was junk, but all of those end up being very lower received because the innate intelligence of our body, we've never been able to reproduce any of that stuff. And by the way, I was listening to one thing this week. Don't worry about the robots taking over. I'm telling you right now, here's something that I heard today. We can't even reproduce outside of the human body. How to have your heart beat. Exactly what it is. We can't produce the difference between the oxygen in the, like your oxygen coming into your lungs and the CO2 coming out in an efficient manner. Okay. They're constantly trying to say, hey, they're going to replace us with these robots and all that kind of stuff. You can't. It's just not going to happen. The processes within the human body are way beyond what they can actually do. In fact, I'll give you something interesting in chiropractic practice. Many times I will run into people that have had procedures done. Chiropractors work on people with all kinds of vast array of different surgeries, right? Back surgery, neck, rods here, rods there, metal plates, all kinds of stuff, right? One that's interesting to me, that's fascinating, is I will call it a spinal stimulator. A spinal stimulator is a unit. It's basically, I think of it as like a TENS unit. So a TENS unit is like little electrodes that kind of hit the pain nerves and kind of calm those nerves down. So somebody in chronic pain may be in a situation where the doctor thinks, hey, this is their only option, is this, these pain stimulators. Okay. A lot of times they start on the outside. If it worked, then maybe because this person's in pain things. So what happens is they take this battery pack and the piece and they stick it in the person. And then they have lead wires that go up to the pain nerves areas and this stuff constantly sends electricity, vibrational electricity to relieve the person's pain. Does it work? I think it does. I think it actually does work. For how long though? And one of the things that I noticed over the years with a lot of those patients that have that, it doesn't work at the end. Because your body, it's just like kind of anything, right? If it's constantly going all the time, your body becomes aware of it and used to it. And either the pain blows through that situation where that person still has those issues, or, they just don't notice, that it's even on or working, right? And so that it just becomes, it's always something interesting when we try to take an action that the human body has and try to mimic that action. Your body will go around it. Like I was telling a patient, they found with some people that have artery blockages, like some artery in their body's blocked. When they've done autopsies after they've passed away, sometimes maybe an artery, they never knew it was blocked. The human body actually made a new artery over the top of it, like developed it and grew it to connect the other side. Isn't that wild? Like, think about how old that person had to do to have growth in an artery and bypass the blockage. That means we have growth in an older age, guys. That's what it shows you. Like people complain about arthritis all the time, right? A degenerative arthritis. What I think in my head though? You have bone that's growing. Think about that. Now, it's not in the ideal situation that you want, but isn't bone growing? Aren't cells changing? So the older you get, the more arthritis you get, right? But isn't that cellular changing? Yes, it is. And so what if let's say your spine was in perfect alignment when those cells are changing? Wouldn't that make a difference? How about if you were eating so clean that there was no inflammation in any of those joints and those cells are changing? You think that would make a difference? Or how about having a great feeling thought all the time, constantly moving, staying active, being outside, laughing with friends? All of those things make cells change. Make cells change now. Make cells change when you're young. Make cells change when you're old. And that is the truth of the matter. Okay. So let's see. I wonder if I got any more articles. Oh, I like this because I talk about it all the time. Let's do this one for the last one. Limiting sugar early in life builds stronger hearts and healthier futures. Okay. Babies exposed to less sugar during pregnancy and early childhood have dramatically lower risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes later in life, showing that the first 1,000 days shape lifelong cardiovascular health. Interesting. A large study found that those born under post-war sugar rationing had up to 31. Okay. So this is post-war sugar rationing. That was that age group. Had up to 31% lower risk of stroke, 27% lower risk of dying from heart disease, with the strongest benefits seen when sugar restriction lasted through infancy. So the first 1,000 days. Early sugar restriction helps prevent fetal hyperglycemia and inflammation that damages developing blood vessels, leading to stronger heart function, smoother blood flow, and better blood pressure regulation in adulthood. That's awesome. Most U.S. infant formulas contain added sugar equal to about 2 cans of soda per day for a formula-fed baby, yet labels don't disclose these ingredients, leaving parents unaware of the hidden metabolic risks. Parents can safeguard their child's heart and metabolism by breastfeeding or making homemade formula, delaying all added sugars for the first 2 years, and modeling healthy eating habits at home. Very true. So true. Like there's a huge push of breastfeeding. The other thing is homemade breast milk, or I'm sorry, homemade baby formula, right? Because then you can control the ingredients. A lot of times there's an addiction factor to those formulas too. We don't know why we're not doing the most organic foods we can in those formulas. I don't understand why that's the case. However, partly I think it's risk. I think the baby food formula, I don't want to say it's nefarious. I don't think that. But I think sometimes the least amount of stuff you can get that could potentially be allergic to a baby is probably better, because then more moms are, because that is a very trendy situation. Like if all of a sudden there's a bunch of babies allergic to something, that product's off the market pretty much. No one's going to do it, right? So you got to keep it as blah as you possibly can, in the sense of making sure it doesn't, cause normal reactions. But the amount of sugar, if we can prevent it, you're actually doing something much better for your kid later on. So I think that's pretty cool. So with that said, I'm going to look up one more thing and we'll be done tonight. Yep. I like this one. Okay. There was a study. This is the last one I want to do for chiropractic stuff. So when was this done? Okay, so this one is still, we still have in chiropractic, there's not a ton of research that happens, so I try to find it if I can. So this one's kind of interesting. It's the biomarkers that happen with a 12-week of chiropractic. Okay, so this one is the physiological and biomarker effects of the opioid reduction. If you remember, getting chiropractic adjusted reduced opioids by a significant amount. So I remember it like it was yesterday. I talk about it all the time. There's a veterans study. It showed 151,000 vets. Out of that, 51,000 completely, I believe it's completely stopped opioids. And that's a significant amount. And it was with regular chiropractic care. So like they were getting it on a regular basis per year. This is the physiological effects, though. A pragmatic randomized controlled trial examined 12 weeks of chiropractic adjustments in adults with subclinical, which is like not a huge, like low grade back pain. It measured changes in biomarkers like brain-derived neurotrophic factor, cortisol, right, and inflammatory cytokines, inflammation markers, suggesting potential for neurological and anti-inflammatory benefits, though more research is needed. So that one's a first case study that it shows that chiropractic adjustments actually reduce inflammation and help the brain stimulation, which we kind of know that as we go. So one of these days I'll do Dr. Heidi Havock's research on brain stimulation. It's fantastic. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. See you Sunday for turmeric. It's going to be recording, so I apologize up front, but it's going to be worth it. So with that said, you guys have a great night. Take it easy.